Masjid Jamek is located at the capital city of Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. It is known as the oldest mosque in Malaysia. The word Jamek comes from the Arabic word which means a place where people to congregate and to worship. This mosque was designed by an English architect named Arthur Benison Hutbeck. It is built in 1909. The architectural style of this mosque is inspired by Islamic architecture, Mughal architecture, Moorish architecture, and Indo-Saracenic architecture. The mosque was built on the location of an old Malay burial place at the confluence of Klang and Gombak River and named Jamek Mosque. A couple of mosques previously existed in the Java Street and Malay Street, areas serving the Malay communities, but Jamek Mosque was the first large mosque to build in Kuala Lumpur.
In praying area, there are horseshoe arches, column, chakra screen windows. First, horseshoe arches are located at each of praying area, which allow more height than the classical semicircular arches. Next, the column in praying area are repeated in the layout plan. Chakra screen window is repeated at rear elevation of the facade building. Next, Moorish minaret pattern is formed of brick and plastered is described as blood and bandage. Next, in mihrab or main praying hall, there is 3 sets of octagonal column layout, provides visual and physical barrier to enable flexibility of multiple use occurring at the same time. Lastly, in the landscape, there is Islamic pattern fountain acts as cooling effects for the mosque. It is also at the serene ambience of Masjid Jamek.
As we can see, Masjid Jamek is one of the example mosques that implies Indo-Saracenic architectural style, movement by British architect in the late 19th century, which introduced by C.E. Spooner and A.B. Hutbeck, drew elements from native Indo-Islamic and Indian architecture and combined with Gothic, Revival and Neoclassic style. The design of the mosque follows the traditional layout of North India, with the prayer hall opening towards a closed courtyard, or we call it Sahn. The mosque is flanked by 2 towers and several smaller towers. The onion dome at the top of the prayer hall and at the top of the tower resembles Mughal architecture. So, the Masjid Jamek is one of the official British architecture in Malaysia, which involves a combination of Moorish and Mughal elements. The red and white stripes of the stone walls are similar to those of the Jamek Mosque in Cordoba, Spain, forming the outer walls of the mosque. Other similarities with Moorish mosques can be seen on the pillar arches in the form of compartments and details with intervals of strips of brick, plaster and marble. The British administration was the first to bring domes in buildings in Malaysia. The source of inspiration was in the Mughal buildings in India. And we can see that there are so many domes designed in the mosque, like we can see in Jamek Mosque or in Al-Ustaz Kedah and in Mosque Ubudiah in Kuala Lumpur.
Construction of Masjid Jamek were built by using materials such as bricks with concrete castings and plaster, though the 3 domes are made of timber covered with macoite roofing, painted white, while the floor is sprayed with Dalton tiles designed after the pattern of Malay prayer mat. Although of both Indian Islamic architecture, it promotes the usage of red brick and marble that were applied on the Masjid Jamek. Bricks were used as the main materials of the building in order to keep the mosque cool during the day and also portray natural and infinite gratifying colors of burnt clay. Next, marble is used because of aesthetic emergence and known as long-lasting material also. It is also resistant and dense stone.
Niujie Mosque, the largest of all mosques in Beijing, was first built in 996 during the Liao dynasty. The local Muslim community constructed the mosque using traditional Chinese architecture, with the exception that it displays Arabic calligraphy in the interior. It was originally designed by Nazaruddin, the son of an imam. After it was destroyed by armies of Genghis Khan in 1250, the mosque was rebuilt in 1443 in the Ming dynasty, and the Muslims lineage contributed money in 1496 to repair Niujie Mosque. The mosque consists of a group of buildings which follow the norms of traditional Chinese architecture. It has two courtyards according to the Xi He Yuan layout. Facilities including a worship hall, the Wang Yue building, building of publishing etiquette, a lecture pavilion, the twin pavilions and bathrooms. The mosque is home to an ancient Quran over 300 years old, tombs of an Arabian sage, and an incense burner dating from the Ming dynasty. The mosque also houses a library with an ancient manuscripts.
As seen in the plan, the disposition of building is based on the traditional courtyard style, and the mosque was oriented to the direction of Mecca, unlike any other Buddhist temple. There are several elements in Masjid Niujie, which are entrance, moon watching tower, great hall, which is praying hall, courtyard, and minaret. All are aligned on the central axis.
The entrance gate is fronted by a large wall with white marble pedestal and intricate decoration wrapped around the structure. As for the moon watching tower, it is used by the imam to observe the position of the moon to determine times for fasting period. You can see various decorative sculpture elements on the roof, which shows a Chinese style influence in the design. In many mosques, the moon watching tower functions as a minaret, but this mosque of Beijing has the Bangkai Tower minaret in the courtyard, which function to call neighborhood people to come and worship in the mosque during prayers time. Next, Great Hall, which is a praying hall for the Muslim. First of all, its brilliant color, mainly dominated by red, is prominent all over the columns, and all the hall multi-lobe arch gate is decorated with script from Al-Quran all over. Also, the roof is decorated with various paintings of flowers, string of glass bead, and colored glass, which all contribute to the hall's air of great importance and holiness.
Construction of the mosque has relied on the many materials such as stone, brick, and timber. Bricks of the Chinese architecture are dating back to the ancient times. Although the Chinese architecture has known many types of brick, however, the grey brick is the basic structural material of this mosque. Next, the blue limestone is the most widely used in the construction of the mosque. Moreover, the timber of white cedar juniper has more kind timber has been used in traditional Chinese architecture due to the characterized by great durability. The essential accomplishment of traditional Chinese wooden architecture is the load-bearing timber frame, a network of overlapping wooden trusses forming the skeleton of the building. Timber was the main material for the ceiling, door, column, roof, and eave.
The Niujie Mosque is designed with traditional Chinese architecture with Arabic calligraphy in the interior part. The mosque consists of Chinese and Arabic architecture to make it more interesting. To symbolize the origin of this mosque, which is from China, the traditional Chinese architecture is used in the design of the mosque. The design of the mosque consists of groups of buildings which follow the norms of Chinese traditional architecture. There is a stone inscription on the one of the pavilion which recorded the statement of Emperor Kangxi from the Qing dynasty after the implementation of a major renovation in 1696. The restoration of the mosque in the reign of Emperor Kangxi finally makes the architecture influence in the Qing dynasty that will also can be seen in the main buildings that were designed in that period.